One thing people often get wrong about pre-colonial Africa is imagining it as impoverished, underdeveloped, and always dependent on outside aid. But what if I told you there was a time when African kings financed European thrones and dictated the terms? In the 14th century, Emperor Mansa Musa of Mali is said to have controlled so much gold that his pilgrimage wrecked entire economies through sheer generosity. Yet less known are his successors, who trained administrators and established trade networks that reached into parts of Europe and the Middle East. Records from Portuguese and Venetian merchants note borrowing gold from African intermediaries who operated with more leverage than their debtors wish to remember. Was this global economic clout an anomaly? Or are we ignoring a deeper reality about reciprocal dependency before colonization distorted the balance? Certain West African empires developed complex credit systems long before banks existed in Europe. Cowrie shells weren't just ornaments, they were currency backed by trust, geography, and extensive merchant knowledge. Islamic finance principles spread through cities like Timbuktu, where legal contracts for loans were drawn up using Sharia frameworks miles ahead in ethical concerns compared to their European counterparts. Does this mean that Europe's later economic dominance depended not only on conquest, but also on borrowed credibility, quite literally financed by those now described as backward? Why do our textbooks rarely explore transactions where the arrow of capital pointed south to north? Could it threaten core myths about who leads progress and who follows? Even more provocatively, if early African financial systems were powerful enough to independently engage kingdoms abroad, what happened when those same societies were rebranded as aid recipients centuries later? Can wealth ever be neutral if its visibility depends on colonial retellings or omission altogether? And finally, what would it mean today if developing nations stopped seeing themselves as historically disadvantaged participants in global finance, and instead reclaimed legacies of being creditors rather than dependents? Let us know your thoughts. Should repayment begin with historical memory?